We're live. Hello, everybody. I was waiting for something to show up on screen. I can't see anything yet. Anyway, yes, good morning, everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Julie Malone, and it's me you've been sending your stories into. Some of you for a number of years. Haven't you, Elizabeth? Yeah. Excuse me. Right, now this morning I'd like to just let you know who's who up on the bench here with me. We have Councillor Sandra Barnes, who's Deputy Mayor of Candlin, and she's going to be handing out the award bags this morning. We've gone for the bags because, one, the COVID situation, we thought it might be easier, but also some of you have got additional books and that sort of thing, so to take books and certificates and whatever else you've got can get a bit unwieldy, so we thought you could have the bags, but you can open them and you can show off your certificates and that sort of thing, and there'll be time for photographs. Okay, so we also have Ian Charles Douglas, who's a young adult sci-fi writer, local author.
Good morning.
And you have been involved in so many things, haven't you?
We'd be here all day.
Yeah, we would, yeah. But Ian's been a great support for the competition over the years. We also have Mrs. Corliss McGee, who is the Deputy Head of Coppice Farm Primary School, and I know some of you here will know her very well. Donna has also been a tremendous support to the competition over the years in a few schools, haven't you? Yeah. So, right, so first of all, we're going to have a short welcome by our best lady here.
Oh, thank you. To do that now. Good morning, everyone. Can I welcome you all to Edinburgh Council? It's wonderful to see so many of you here in person, as it's been so difficult with the COVID and all of the precautions. And I must say, you all look really, really lovely and very happy. This is sadly the last 13th New Writers UK Awards presentation. It's really, really sad, because Julie's been absolutely wonderful. We've had to sadly limit the number of people. Obviously, we're allowed indoors as yet, but we are streaming it, so we welcome you all here, if you're here on or online. Edinburgh Council have loved being involved with these very special events, and we've been very proud as well. Your talents are still there, and you will all still shine in whatever you do. All being well, other competitions will come along. Who knows? Meetings are taking place, so wait to see what develops. But I'm sure that Julie will keep you informed. I now just congratulate each and every one of you watching online or here in this chamber. Just remember this, that life is a journey. Enjoy every single day that comes along the way. And now I'll pass you to Julie, so have a lovely morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you. Right, so now we start the awards, and the way it's always done, we start with the primary school group first and finalists in alphabetical order of surname. So, can we have Eden Arksey, please, for her poem?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you've got to go over there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Becky? Got to hand out the bags. See, we'll get there, we'll get there. See, you can tell we didn't have a run through last year, can't you? So, yeah, Eden Arksey for... Well done, Eden. Eden's poems, Down Behind the Dustbin, and I Think Bees Are Lovely. So do I. Now, Annie Beaumont, please. Annie's story, The Evil Dictionary. Okay. Don't buy one of those. And Sister Lena Beaumont, please, for Maple's Adventure. Now, no relation, I understand. I'm looking for Tilda Beaumont, please. Tilda's story, My Perfect Life. Now, somebody who was able to come at the last minute, Finley Hayto, please. Well done, Finley. Story, Nature's Door. And Carly, happy birthday. Anybody want to sing happy birthday? No? Just a thought. Okay. Now, we have Martha Hill, who's unable to attend today. For her story, it was Ted and the Barking Beast. Well, terrific Ted. We've had, this is the third story in his series. And he's a ghostly cat. And he's brilliant. And I'm sorry that she's not able to be here today, because she's quite a character. Could we have Mark Hillary, please, to collect for Daisy for her story, The Cloud Painter, and her poem, What is a Monster? Thank you, Mark. Understand Daisy's at a residential school this weekend, isn't she? Yeah, going up to secondary school. Yeah. Hope it goes well for her. Now, somebody else who's not able to be here today is Eleanor Holland for her story, Tsunami. So I believe Eleanor's going to pop in later on before we leave to be able to pick up her awards. I'm looking now for Etienne Howard for her story, Aqua and Agua, the Stone Trolls. Well done, Etienne. How's Finn? Good? Give him my love, won't you? Now I'm looking for Fern Sutton, please. For The Real Joys of Life. Well done, Fern. Unable to attend today, Lorena Thorley for her poem, Alone. And also not attending today, Sama Usman for her poem, My Superheroes. And somebody who is attending today, Sophie Wilson, for her story, The Boy with the Big Heart. Well done, Sophie. And so that's the end of the finalists, but now we go on to joint third place. Now, for some reason this year, there were so many times where we had equal scoring from our judges. So you're going to find that we're going to have a lot of joint seconds and joint thirds as we go through. Because if they get the same score, how can you say to somebody, oh no, I can only take one of you, alphabetical order? No, that's not going to happen. So everyone's treated equally. So, yeah, again, not attending, Eleanor Holland for her poem, A Robin's Tale. But can we have Lucy Whiteman, please, for her story, A Little Bit of Magic? Well done, Lucy. So Lucy and Eleanor are both in joint third place. Actually, that was for poetry, sorry. Now, on to joint third place for stories. I don't know if you're going to like this one. Teacher Torture? Teacher Torture? Dominic Carey, please. Well done, Dominic. Not attending, again, it's a residential weekend. Roland Lees for Mystery on Carriage 6. So can we have next, please, Dan Lee for The Necromancer's Wrath. Well done, Dan. That sounds a bit scary, doesn't it? And I'm looking for Lucy Moxie for Just Another Normal Day in Class. Well done, Lucy. Do you ever have a normal day in class?
No.
No, I didn't think so. Okay, and again, sorry, not attending Lorena Thorley for her story, Alma. So now we go on to second place, joint second place. So for poetry, could we have Etienne Howard again, please, for My Dyslexia? Well done. And Lila Sandhu for Autumn Leaves. I've made a mistake here. Lila, hold on just a second. I missed you out in the finalist group as well.
I spotted that.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
got her two. I fixed it.
You fixed it. Good, I'm glad somebody's keeping an eye on me. Sorry, Lila. Oh, that's not the first time I've done that. Right, so now we go on to joint second place story. And not able to be here today is Ritchie Candlin. For his story, Captain COVID is Born. So next, as joint second place, we have Owen Cooling, please. For the Woodland Whooper. It's quite funny, actually. I like that one. And Ella Young for Heidi's first hunting trip. Well done, Ella. And first place, and I'm sure he's sitting there thinking, have they forgotten about me? Owen Plummer for The Robin's Adventure. It's a beautiful story. Well done, Owen. Well done, Owen. And if anybody wants to know anything about spiders, Owen's the man to ask. Aren't you? Yep. And now I'm going to call on Mrs. Corliss McGee to say a few words to you. Thank you.
So, good morning everybody, and first of all I just want to say sit in here, because normally I've been on that side, and it's just such a fantastic event, and to see so many young writers and the success that you've had. So every single one of you, well done, and a huge congratulations. You should be very, very proud of yourselves. And as a teacher, I have been involved with this competition 13 years when a certain lady arrived at the reception of Ernhill Junior School. She was pointed in my direction, and it was a very small year that year, wasn't it? We started, but suddenly some of my most reluctant writers, they suddenly discovered this urge to write, and they had their ideas, and they were putting them down on paper, and they had a purpose. And when we had our first award ceremony and we had finalists and we even had some placed, the buzz around school, suddenly everybody wanted to write. They wanted to be part of this magical competition. And it was only available to the older children as well. So the younger children were itching to get involved, and it's brilliant because I know from my school this year, Sophie and Lila, you were in year 3 when you entered, which was a first because you'd had your birthdays, so you were the right side. And you've actually made teachers' lives a little bit easier over the years.
Oh, you think so?
I do, well, yeah. And because getting children to write, and I am going to say it, boys as well, but actually I'm absolutely thrilled because some of the most successful writers of mine over the years, they have been my boys, haven't they? And as I've come to the competition each year, I think I've only missed about 2 or 3 because my daughter's not interested in writing. She likes to sing and dance, so it's always, there's been clashes with shows and festivals. But I've loved coming and seeing all of the children from schools across the region, and I've got to know lots of faces and seeing them grow up. And even today, there are children that I taught 3-4 years ago, is it, Harrison? So, and I'm still only 21, but... But it's absolutely fantastic to see that because I have got a big passion for literacy and for reading, and reading for pleasure is so important, and that's one of the joys of having the summer holiday. And I really hope that one day maybe one of the books that I do read over my summer holiday has been penned by one of the young writers in this room. That would be amazing. And we have had some of the previous participants who have gone on to be published, haven't we? Yeah. Which is fantastic. So I want to say a huge thank you on behalf not just of the schools that I've worked in, but also all of the schools in the region, and on behalf of all the teachers, because you have been an inspiration. And you've come into schools, you've helped, run workshops, you've done readings for the children, and I don't think you quite realise just how inspirational and how big an impact you have had on writing for young people in this region. So I want to say a huge congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And a massive thank you and a very, very big well done. So well done to everybody in the room, and well done to all of the young people. Keep writing. It is the final year of this particular strand of the competition. But I know that Julie and I, we have had a few conversations, and it's coffee and cake.
Oh, it certainly is.
Finally got a free weekend.
Yeah.
And so there are discussions. So we are hopeful that we will be able to continue in some format, because I think this is so important. So congratulations to everybody, and a huge thank you to you, Julie. So. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now we go group 2 for secondary school years 7 and 8. When we first started this competition, it was only for years 5, 6, 7 and 8, and it was because parents said, oh, my daughter's 8 years old, she's in year 4, you know, that we extended it. And when we extended it to year 4 as well, we then had to balance that up with secondary school. So, and then we had finalists who, like Becky over there, who was in year 9 or 10. And, well, what do I do when I get to 16? I can't enter anymore. So we ended up adding 16 to 18-year-olds. And so the competition's grown over the years. But Becky wasn't alone in requesting that. So now she can't enter at all because she's far too old. Right, let's get on with it. So finalists Tamilore Adesina for poem Spring, please. Well done, it's a lovely poem. Elizabeth Simpson for A Splash of Colour poem. Well done, Elizabeth. And Natasha Szukk, please, for her story, The Tunnel. And not able to be here today is Ethan Thorne for his story, The Hunted. So now we go on to joint third for poetry. For the poetry category, it's Oliver Carey for Where Am I? Oliver, you've grown a lot in the 2 years since I've seen you. And joint third in the story category, Sophie Lee for Demon's Domain. Well done, Sophie. Right, and now we go on to joint second for story, The Deadly Coronavirus Outbreak and the Impact on Lives. Can we have Tamilore Adesina, please? Well done. Next, joint second is Harrison Bird for his story, The Dead One's Heart. There's some gruesome titles coming up. And last in that section, joint second stories, Elizabeth Simpson for Fear at Camp Paradise. Well done, Elizabeth. Okay, now joint first. Aisha, could you come up and collect for Valeria, please? There you are. Thank you. Valeria Kamal-Badursky for The Ghost of Newark Castle. Tell her well done from us, won't you? And the other joint first, Nathan Wilson. For his story, The Dark War. Now we're going to have another little break and keep you all waiting. And I call on our guest speaker, Mr. Ian Charles Douglas. Yes, that might be you.
Good morning. Is this working for me? Because I'm so tall, sometimes I have to bend down. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me, Julie, to sadly the final Creative Writing Competition Awards ceremony. It's a tremendous honour to be here. Just let me introduce myself. My name's Ian Charles Douglas, Ian C. Douglas. That C is quite important to me because I found, thanks to the wonders of the internet, that Ian Douglas is actually quite a common name. So if you're looking up my work on the internet. It's Ian C. Douglas. If there's no C, it's not me. And I'm a Nottingham writer. I write science fiction, primarily for young people. And there's just a couple of things I'd like to say this morning. The first one is congratulations to everybody that's got here. You're now published writers and poets. That is awesome. It wasn't until I was in my 30s that I saw my name in the book, so I'm green with envy. And I thank you for telling stories in verse or stories in words, and please keep doing it. It may be that this is your passion, or it may be something you just do for a hobby or from time to time, but please keep telling those stories. I often think that, human beings have been telling stories since forever. Cavemen told stories around the campfire, and as a science fiction writer, I'd like to think that one day humans will be telling stories around on some far-flung planet scattered across the galaxy. And that's what we do, and telling stories feeds our imagination. Imagination is what makes us human, so without that imagination, we'd still be in those caves. So you are all beacons for the future, telling stories. And the other thing I'd like to say, which just struck me this morning, I'm going a little bit off script here, coming into the wonderful Candlin Civic Centre, was my awe and admiration for Julie. Now, I don't want to make Julie blush or perhaps have a little bit of a wet-eyed moment.
I've got tissues.
A bit late for that. But in the writing community, as a writer, I'm of course very privileged to meet many writers of all kinds of different works and fictions and genres, and they're all wonderful. But I often notice that many writers, they're just writing for themselves. They're just in it for themselves, really, because it is really tough, if you want to make a living out of writing. So they just come, do their stuff, and go home. And then there are other writers, like Julie, that use their writing as a way of making the world better. They use their writing, the gift of writing, as a way of reaching out and helping other people and helping the community and making a difference. And Julie is a very talented author who's very written. I don't know how many books you've written.
10 now.
10. So look at that. I thought it was more. And go and buy them if you can. But you don't only write books. You use writing through this competition and the other things you do to make Nottinghamshire a better place for everyone. So I'd just really like to say, yes again, can we have a round of applause for Julie? And maybe that's a lesson we can all take forward, that when we write, it's not just about us and our imagination, it's how can we use our writing or other creative skills to help those around us. Okay, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the day.
Thank you. Oh, how do I top that? Right, I'll top that by getting on with the next bit. Okay, so we now have secondary school years 9 to 11, and joint third for poetry, we have Genevieve Daniels, please. Is there a choice? Well done, Genevieve. And for story, we have two story writers who neither of them can be here today. So Hina Salim for Beauty is Only Skin Deep, and Inea Usman for The Parking Lot Haunting. As I say, we do have some scary titles this time. Mind you, we've had a few before, haven't we, Paula? Right, okay, so now we go on to joint second. And for poetry, again, unfortunately, Evangeline can't be with us. I think you get quite a surprise when you read her poem. It's quite long, and it's quite interesting. It's called Youth, exclamation mark, Teenagers, exclamation mark. So I think you might enjoy that. Okay, now in the joint second group, for story, can we have Elizabeth Bailey Flitter, please, for Portamundi 6, Part 2. done, Elizabeth. And for those who don't know, we had part 1 last year. So I was glad to see how the tale went. Bashma Zaman Maha. For her story, Forbidden. It's lovely, really lovely. And first prize goes to Megan Longmire for Lost Girl. Well done, Megan. And now the John Allen Award for entrants aged 16 to 18 years. This is going to be quite a short one, actually. In the joint third category. No, just third. Not attending, Jessica Faulkner for her poem, The Death Key. And then we go on to joint second. And for poetry, Jessica's got that one as well for her poem Montgomery. For story, can I call on Linda Daniels, please, to collect for Max for his story Little Red Riding Hood. And the last one, out first for a story. Hi, Ben. Benjamin Carey. For Hope for Freedom. Well done. So, that's it. That's the awards. Now, I've got a few things to say, as you thought I probably would do. I've been writing since 2005, and it's given me some fantastic opportunities, and it's taken me to places, and I've met people that I would never have met. So you don't have to be a well-known writer to be able to open up your world. I've met Neil Gaiman, Doctor Who writer, Coraline, Starship? Star something? Stardust? Stardust. Stardust. I've met Stephen Booth, crime writer, Elizabeth Chadwick, historical writer, Helen Hollick, historical writer, and a lot of others, and this lovely man here. None of this would have happened if I hadn't started writing. I can go to places, my books generally are based around Somerset, and I can go to the Wookey Hole Caves for free now. I don't have to pay anymore. Great. But the one thing that I think has given me more pleasure is if I hadn't started writing, I wouldn't have started this competition. And over the years, I've got to know so many wonderful entrants. Families have become friends of mine. You know, these are people I wouldn't have met before. And it's been tremendous. But I'm also very proud of the fact that some, as Donna mentioned, some of our finalists have actually gone on to write their own books. Tabitha and Max Daniels, Jacob Evans, Becky's brother, Jessica Faulkner, Megan Holmes. The fact that they've become so involved in writing, and they've gone through college courses and university and that sort of thing, but they're still writing. I would have thought that during those years they'd have had enough to do with their studies, but no, they're still writing, and it's wonderful. But one thing that I do have to say is never ever let anyone, if you believe in yourself, never let anyone tell you that you're not good enough. We had a girl entered a few years ago, And her story was terrific, really, really good. And our judges just went for it completely, and she scored really highly. And she got a first in her group. She didn't enter the next year, and she didn't enter the year after that. And I just happened to bump into her one day, and I said, "Are you still writing?" And she said, "No, I haven't written anything else." "Why? You're really good." And she said, forgive me for this, she'd shown it to a teacher at her school. Not Donna. Definitely not Donna. And the teacher had said, "That's rubbish." Now, to chop the legs off from somebody who's feeling good about themselves, that they've done something, that they've got an achievement and they've enjoyed what they've done, and to take that away from them is cruel. And it stopped her writing, but by the end of the conversation, she was saying, "Well, maybe I'll look into writing again." And I haven't seen her since, so I really hope she has, because she's very, very good. I actually understood how she felt. When I started writing, I chose to go self-published. And I chose that deliberately. I didn't look for an agent, I didn't look for a mainstream publisher. I chose that because I wanted my books my way. I wanted my characters, I wanted my scenes, I wanted my locations. And I knew that something that was going to happen in one place would crop up again later on. So I didn't want someone telling me that it needed to be cut. Now, in those days, to get your books into schools or libraries to be taken relatively seriously, you had to go through a certain officer at the county council who said, "Yes, send me your book, I'll have a look at it." And I phoned him a week or so later, and he said, "I'm not going to bother to look at your book, you're self-published, therefore you'll be rubbish." Now, I've gone on to get reviews in the media that compare me with J.K. Rowling, Philip Pullman, and Tolkien. I've had young children, 7, 8 years old, that have said, "I loved your books, and it's got me reading." I don't care what that man said. I carried on writing because I wanted to. And if you believe in yourselves, then you do the same thing. I'm always at the end of the email or Facebook or whatever, if you want to contact me anytime, I'm always around. And you never know, I might turn up at your school one of these days. I've been to a few, haven't I? Yeah. So I do need to thank a few people, so I'm going to make this as short as I can, because I know I've kept you here for a little while. But I want to thank the Deputy Mayor, Sandra, and Peter Barnes, because they've supported this competition right from the word go. If it hadn't been for their people like Peter and Sandra, their support financially and in every other way, we probably wouldn't have been able to go on this long. So the Arnold Local Area Forum have also helped with donations towards funding. This is why I've been able to run this competition free to enter, why I've been able to get books published, with your stories and poems, because of the donations that people have given to help me do this. So I want to thank Gedling Borough Council for allowing us to use this lovely facility for the last few years. They've certainly sort of hosted this event more than the County Council and so on. So we've been here most of the time, haven't we? Yeah. We've had my thanks to all county councillors, borough and district councillors who have supported us. I am very, very grateful. And I'm actually finding this event quite sad, quite sad. After 13 years, it's a long time. The competition, from the time that I start promoting it in February through to the Autumn Awards, there's lots of things going on in the background that I don't think people realise right the way through that time. So you're talking about it taking 7 or 8 months where my concentration can be very much involved with the competition. And this has been a lot easier for me than last time, because last time I was talking to a camera. And cameras are fine, but it's so much nicer talking to people and seeing faces. I want to thank Flying Shark Media, because they did the live stream for us last year. And don't tell anyone, but that's my son.
Can I be a son?
Yes, of course you can. I'll adopt you. He says I'll be a mum to anyone, so. Yeah, so we've had some wonderful authors that have supported us as well, and in